Hello everyone and welcome. Welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist, where we break down the most talked about issues in Nigeria and beyond. Today we are diving into a heated controversy surrounding the extension of tenures for Nigerian Inspector General of Police and other paramilitary heads. This move by the presidency has sparked a fierce debate, with accusations of illegality and political favoritism flying. On one side, you have the government and its supporters who argue that these extensions are justified and necessary for stability. On the other hand, critics like activist Omoyele Sowore are crying foul, pointing to what they see as a blatant disregard for the law and a dangerous precedent. So, is this a case of presidential prerogative for the good of the nation, or is it a politically motivated power play? Let's get into the details. In this first clip from Arise News, Summer Sambo questions Omoyele Sowore about his opposition to the IGP's tenure extension. Sowore lays out his case, arguing that the extension is illegal based on existing laws regarding retirement age and years of service. He contends that once an officer's tenure has expired, they are no longer legally a police officer and therefore cannot hold the position of IGP. This is a powerful argument that strikes at the heart of the rule of law. So sit back and take a watch.
We've seen these issues of extension brewing, especially that of the Inspector General of Police. And Sowore, I want to talk about the IGP. I mean, it looks like you have a personal issue with him. What exactly does it have to do? Are there personal issues, or you're actually out for the interest of the country? Because a lot of people started complaining about the extension. But when you bring the Police Act that was amended and what the Senate did, some people will say it looks like Betekun is justified, based on the position of the National Assembly to continue to be in power. Although some people within the police force seem to be, saying, though they can't come out, that indeed it's actually painful for Betekun to still remain in that position.
You see, what the uniform that they put on lapsed at, when they reach the age of 60, or they've served for 35 years. So Betokun's tenure as a policeman expired in around August of 2024, September. Everybody knows that. His tenure extension has nothing to do with that. His tenure was illegally extended. The person who claimed, and I want to remind you of this, the member of the House of Representatives who claimed he was the one who made the law has not spoken after we told him that no law permits a person who is not a policeman to remain IG of police. So if you want to change the law, change it completely. And that means that anybody who is a Nigerian can become the IGP of police, just like you have in the FCC. Buhari tried it with customs. But when it comes to police, you have to be in uniform to be IGP of police. So they understand what they are doing. That is why they have not been able to defend. They keep defending it every year, because even the Attorney General of the Federation in 2024 said, we expect this man to retire. And after he was supposed to have retired and his tenure was extended illegally, they couldn't defend it. They haven't been able to defend it today. They haven't been able to defend it yesterday. As to whether I have personal issues with him, I don't have personal issues, but I have a problem with anybody in Nigeria who perpetrates illegality, regardless of who you are. Whether you are a military general, or you are Inspector General of Police, or you are a constable, if you are engaging in illegal activities just because you think you have the power to do it, or because you have the impunity of the state behind you, it will seem personal, because it will not stop until that is. And this applies also to the lady in immigration. She also ought to have retired. So extending the tenure of these guys is just perpetrating illegality, apart from the fact that you kill the morale of the younger officers who are supposed to be aspiring to become the best and get to the top. That is how it is done all over the world. You do not just use a fear because you are president to go and appoint somebody who is not supposed to be in charge of. Even Boy Scouts don't give the leadership of the Boy Scout to a person who has never been in the Boy Scout. It's always the oldest person in the Boy Scout that is the leader of the Boy Scouts. So these are not just military organizations, these are sensitive security organizations in the country that ought to protect life and property. We can't play politics with these positions.
All right.
It affects us directly. And you know what Nigeria is in terms of security right now because of these tired individuals who are parading themselves in corridors.
Well,
as you just heard, Sowore's argument is straightforward. The law is the law. He points out that the tenure of the Inspector General Kayode Ebetokun as a policeman expired in August or September of 2024. He insists that any extension beyond that point is illegal, regardless of any subsequent amendment to the Police Act. He even brings up a member of the House of Representatives who championed the law but has since gone silent on the issue. Sowore's stance is that you can't have a civilian leading the police force, which is what he argues is happening with this extension. Now, let's look at the second part of this intense exchange. Here, the conversation broadened to include the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Kemi Nandap. The discussion touches upon the wider implications of these extensions, with Sowore's alleging that they are a form of illegality that damages the morale of younger officers who aspire to rise through the ranks. Another guest on the program, Kassim, Afegbua, a former commissioner for information in Edo State, offers a counter perspective, suggesting that these decisions are within the president's purview. This sets up a classic clash between legal principles and political power. Let's take a watch.
Well, you are saying tired individuals, and I'm bringing Kassim Afegbua back. The president says he has confidence in these people, and that's why he's extending their tenures. And one thing that he's saying is that he will give them time to improve on the technology issues that they've been bringing into play. I mean, look at immigration, for example. There have been some works that have been ongoing with the Minister of Interior and all of that, and Kemi Nandap are working towards that. But Sowore has raised an issue here. Is 1 year extension enough for them to be able to encapsulate all of this and make sure that these services, whether immigration or customs, are left better than they met them?
Well, the problem with people like Sowore is the fact that he hasn't been in government. He doesn't know how government works. And so when he sees openings such as this, he will naturally go on the street to protest so that his relevance could be, noticeable and visible. But beyond that, the president who is sitting on that seat called president, and to a large extent, he knows exactly the kind of people he needs to achieve certain objectives, short-term, long-term, or medium-term, kind of. So when you come out and begin to say something is illegal, only a court of competent jurisdiction can declare anything illegal. So what I expect someone like him, who is a freedom fighter, if there are no abuses, freedom fighters will be out of job. If there are no observable, if there's freedom all over the world, for example, freedom fighters
you cannot always have freedom.
So freedom fighters will be out of job. So the point I'm making is that the president exactly knows what he wants, or where he's taking the people, not where the people are taking him. President all over the world speak on behalf of the people, they act on behalf of the people. But
Sowore says this may be linked to cronyism, that there's a growing level of cronyism under the Tinubu administration, and it's targeted at uplifting those who are from one region. And this is what a lot of people have been saying. Isn't this going to be affecting the political capital of President Tinubu?
No, you see, there is no scientific basis, there's no empirical basis on his assertion of cronyism, because I've just told you that the Northwest Zone carries the highest mark when it comes to those who have been appointed under the Tinubu administration. And judging by the population of voters, population of people in Nigeria, after the Northwest Zone, the Southwest follows. So then North Central before you talk about Northeast and South-South. So the point I'm making is that it is convenient for him to make his assertions, to make his condemnation, to make pronouncement and all that, but it's not the president. The president.
But are you not worried that all these extensions are coming for people who come from one region? I mean, from the Southwest, and they're coming from one particular tribe within a multipolar country like Nigeria.
No, if it is viewed that way, it is not an accident of history that they were also from the same geopolitical zone when they became Controller General. So he didn't appoint Adeni from the blues. He appointed on the basis of hierarchy. So it wasn't an accident of history. The same thing, the immigration woman, the same thing with the Inspector General of Police. So it wasn't his making. These are things he came to meet and all of that. So now you are saying they should have gone based on this thing. If you want to challenge such things, you take it to court of competent jurisdiction. Let the court act on it based on the laws.
So where lies the issue of political balancing? I mean, under former President Buhari, who's now late, I mean, there were these calls, especially from the south, that most of the appointments by Buhari in the military, paramilitary, were all skewed towards the north. I mean, so is it a turn of the south to actually reply? I mean, so when we have a southern president, do we have this happening?
When you say skewed, if it is skewed and a particular zone is higher than southwest, that is not skewed. You see, you can only say skewed if there is a preponderance of appointments from southwest zone beyond the normative order of other zones. But if you say skewed on the basis of the fact that this person has been extended, I'll say no. At any rate, 1 year from now, President Tinubu will still be president, and the Customs Controller General will leave the position. Another person will be appointed to that office or will take over that office. The same thing with other positions, the immigration woman and all of that. The president who sits on that particular exalted office tells you, as an ordinary citizen who don't have access to security information, you don't have access to any other information aside from the one you can scoop from the street when you are doing your protest. He's telling you that head of this person will help me to complete A, B, C, D that has been outlined, in this effort, and this is what we want to see Custom do. And Custom has been generating more revenue than before. Let them bring it to a conclusive end so that at the end of the day, at least they will have achieved a particular objective. 1 year from now is not too much a thing. August next year, the president will still be president whether you like it or not.
All right.
And so he's still going to be president till 2027. Then his mandate will also be renewed to 2031. So I hope Sowore will not say that his party has been hijacked again, because he's still going to be the candidate, presidential candidate of his party.
I mean, that's
it's a perennial
well, Sowore, as we try to round off this conversation, where does the issue of presidential discretion actually lie within this context? Because the presidential powers are there, the president has the power to do it. Do you sense any form of abuse? Could there be anything better? How can the National Assembly help to curtail if there are any abuses of such powers in the future?
Well, we're not running a monarchy. So this idea that because the president is president of a country, he can't be challenged is the worst form of presentation I've ever seen anyone who believes or who claim that we are running a democracy say. And that a court of law is the only place where you can resolve such an issue is absolutely hubris. But, like I said when you first brought Afegbua on this show, Afegbua himself is tired. He needs to retire from repeating the same nonsense every year on this show shows. This is what they do. This is how they make a living. But
all he said is nonsense. You need to watch your words.
If you retire from being a perennial candidate, I will also retire.
What I can tell you is that there's no way I'm hiring you to be my spokesperson, because you won't fit into the ideas that can take this country to the next level. But
I'm a realist. I don't do all daydreaming. You are daydreaming.
What is the meaning of realism going by what you do? One day you are in Delta States, the next day you are a
perennial candidate.
All right, gentlemen. Sowore, just go straight to the issue.
Yes. I hope the conversations that we need to have is about how to make the country work. This country is broken. Everybody understand that. He presented the president as someone who's seen a security report. Does this country look like a country governed by people who are reading security reports? It shows to you that they don't understand how to govern a country. And what we keep saying is that we must get to a point where people who are competent are governing a country of 200 and something million people. What we have now is just people doing try and error. It's try and error to put somebody in charge of digital development of customs when he has a year to go. Nobody does that. It's try and error to ask a IG of police to keep running a country where there's no security, where the police is done. I had to go and fight on behalf of policemen last week. And it wasn't until the fact that about 30,000 policemen were promoted. So that does it show to you that the IG knows what it's doing? You need people who know what they are doing to be in very sensitive positions. But also you must manage the diversity of your country by ensuring that you do not overload the leadership of the country or very sensitive position with people from your region. That's not how to manage diversity. And he knows. We condemned it under Buhari, so we are not going to tolerate it under Tinubu, and they know this. So that's why you see all these arguments about, oh, the president is seeing security reports. Where does he see security reports? If he did, he probably doesn't know anything about security, and because of all this,
well, I mean, being a president, there's no how he wouldn't be having access to security reports. But gentlemen,
that clip, you can see the two opposing viewpoints clashing. Sowore doubles down on his argument, applying the same principle of illegality to the head of Immigration Service. He frames this extension as a practice that perpetuates illegality and kills the morale of deserving junior officers. On the other hand, Kassim Afegbua suggests that those who disagree with the president's decision should take their case to court, implying that until a court rules otherwise, the extensions are legitimate. This really highlights the central question: where does the presidential discretion end and the rule of law begins? Now, for my take on this, the controversy over this tenure extension isn't just about the individuals involved. It's about the principle that govern our institutions. Omoyele Sowore argues about the rule of law is compelling. When law regarding retirements are bypassed, it can create a perception of impunity and favoritism. This can be incredibly damaging to the morale of our security forces, as it suggests that career progression is not based on merit but on political connection. When younger officers see their seniors' tenures extended, it can lead to frustration and a sense of stagnation within the rank. However, the argument for presidential discretion, as hinted by Kassim, also has its merit. A president might believe that continuity in leadership is crucial for national security, especially during challenging times. They might have confidence in a particular individual's ability to see through important reforms or handle specific security threats. The president, as the commander-in-chief, has access to intelligence that the public doesn't, and their decisions may be based on factors that we are not aware of. But here's the critical point: that discretion must be exercised within the bounds of the law. If the law clearly states the terms of service and retirement, then extending a tenure without a legal basis is a problem. It sets a dangerous precedent where the rules can be bent for political expediency. While the president has the power to appoint, that power should not be used to undermine the very laws that uphold our democratic institutions. The National Assembly has a crucial role to play here in ensuring that any amendments to these laws are clear, transparent, and in the best interest of the country, not just political interest of the moment. Ultimately, what Nigerians need are strong, professional, and law-abiding security institutions, and that starts with respecting the rules that govern them. That's all the time we have for you today on Obas Trending Gist. What are your thoughts on this issue? Do you think the president is right to extend these tenures, or do you agree with Sowore that it's an illegal act? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you so much for watching.